The day of the training arrived. Since the office conference room lacked sufficient equipment, the training was held at a rented conference room equipped with high-quality audiovisual systems. The session was scheduled to start relatively early in the morning, so everyone was to head directly to the training location from home and return to the office afterward. I arrived early at the training location and waited for the other employees to show up. This is strange. Although I had informed everyone that the training would start at 9:30, not a single person had arrived by 9:25. The trainer, Michael, had arrived 30 minutes early and was already preparing the videos and materials for the session. Could it really happen that not a single person shows up 5 minutes before the start? Sure, someone might cut it close, but the entire department arriving at the last minute seemed too coincidental. Still, I had decided to wait until 9:30, trusting it was just an odd coincidence. The clock read 9:31. The start time had passed.
This is odd. Could it be that everyone misunderstood the date and time?
Michael looked concerned as he spoke. I double-checked that I had communicated the correct date and time multiple times, but I started to panic, wondering if I had made a mistake after all. However, the shared chat showed the correct information, and several employees had even replied with, "Got it." It was impossible for every single person to misunderstand the date. "I'm so sorry." I apologized to Michael. Just then, my phone rang. Looking at the screen, I saw it was Kevin calling. "Excuse me, it's Kevin," I told Michael before answering the call. "Kevin, this is John. Where are you right now?" I asked him in a flustered tone.
"Where else? I'm at the office."
Hearing this, I grew more anxious and said, "Today is the training day. Michael is waiting. Can you come quickly? Also, no one else has shown up." Kevin burst into laughter and replied loudly,
"Why would I go? And don't bother waiting for anyone else. They won't show up either. Why don't you just take the training by yourself?"
I couldn't comprehend what he meant and responded, "What do you mean? I informed everyone of the correct date. You can check the chat for yourself." Kevin laughed again and said,
"Yeah, I know. But I told the executives it was your mistake, so don't worry. They'll think this is all your fault. I'm looking forward to it."
Anger surged within me, and I snapped back. "Why would you do such a thing? I'm used to your harassment, but this time, Michael is involved. You're causing trouble for him." Kevin's tone turned mocking.
"Michael? Who cares about some old guy no one knows? The CEO's lectures are at least slightly better, not that they're worth much either. Honestly, this training is pointless. Wouldn't it be better to stay at the office and just do your actual work?"
I was shocked. He was always so submissive to the higher-ups, yet here he was, belittling even the CEO. Kevin continued,
"I ordered everyone in our department not to attend this training. And hey, I even coordinated the dates so everything would go smoothly. You should thank me for my generosity."
Kevin let out a loud laugh, sounding just like an evil overlord from a children's cartoon, as he shouted those words. I was beyond angry and deeply disappointed to have crossed paths with such a petty boss. Why, executive director, did you headhunt someone like him? Just then, Michael, who had been watching me with concern, said,
I see. So that's what's happening.
And from there, events unfolded in ways I could never have predicted. My name is John Williams. I'm a 34-year-old office worker. I work for a mid-sized IT company called Retechnology. Our CEO is a woman named Lauren Carter. I didn't attend college due to my financial circumstances, so I joined this company straight out of high school. 15 years have passed since then. Recently, my biggest concern has been the change in my direct manager. My previous boss, Robert, had to leave the company due to health issues and return to his hometown. The executive director, James, brought in an acquaintance with managerial experience at another IT company, Kevin Davis, who became our new department head last month.
Kevin is 35, close to your age, and a polite guy. I'm sure you'll get along well.
James told me before I met Kevin. I was hopeful. Robert, who was twice my age, had treated me like a son, but the idea of working with a manager close to my age felt refreshing. However, my expectations crumbled the moment I first met Kevin. It happened on his first day at work.
Nice to meet you. My name is Kevin, and I've been assigned as the new department head. I may cause some inconvenience as I get settled, but I look forward to working with you.
Kevin greeted us with a formal introduction. At first, when James introduced him in our presence, Kevin seemed completely ordinary. But as soon as James returned to another floor and left the room, Kevin's demeanor completely changed.
Listen up, all of you. Don't think you can look down on me just because I'm young. I'm going to run a tight ship here. Slack off, and you're out, fired on the spot.
The sudden shift in Kevin's personality froze the entire room. I had been hopeful when James said, "He's close to your age and seems like a polite guy." But Kevin's proximity and age only seemed to amplify his hostility. And I became his target from the very first day.
You there. I don't know how long you've been at this company, but you seem like the least useful person here. What college did you graduate from?
Suddenly being singled out, I panicked and stammered. Well, I didn't go to college. Hearing my awkward response, Kevin burst into loud laughter and said,
Seriously? You didn't go to college? High school graduate? That's unbelievable.
To be insulted like this upon our first meeting made me seriously question his character. And knowing I would have to face this person every day from now on made my heart sink. From that day on, the power dynamics within our department began to shift. People started dividing into two groups: those who wanted to avoid Kevin's overbearing personality and stayed out of his way, and those who tried to win his favor to make their lives easier. The avoidance group wasn't harassed outright, but they weren't treated well either, leading to a weaker standing within the company. On the other hand, the favor-seeking group enjoyed preferential treatment, better work assignments, and more decision-making authority. When Robert was the department head, he evaluated employees based on their performance fairly. But Kevin evaluated employees based on his personal feelings, which raised serious doubts in my mind. Among the avoidance group, some people managed to keep their heads down and get through each day, but others became mentally exhausted and started taking frequent absences. It was disheartening to see people who had been lively and motivated during Robert's time now struggling. I didn't belong to either faction, and I was constantly thinking about how to create a better work environment for everyone. Eventually, I realized that the only way to address this issue was to report it to higher management. So, about a month after Kevin's arrival, I decided to speak with James. James, I need to talk to you. Our department is facing some serious issues.
What's going on, John? What's the problem?
I explained to James how our team was becoming divided and how Kevin wasn't evaluating employees fairly. Kevin becomes very overbearing when supervisors aren't around. While strictness can be necessary for work, the way he plays favorites among employees and treats others unfairly is a major issue. Back when Robert was here, evaluations were based on the quality of our work. But James' response was disheartening.
Well, I understand what you're saying, John, but Kevin is still new to his role. He's probably trying different methods to find what works. You should just focus on doing your best under his leadership. Speaking poorly of your boss isn't the right approach. Try to get along with him.
I felt deeply disappointed. It wasn't about bad-mouthing Kevin. It was about addressing a serious problem. If hires turned a blind eye to wrongdoing, it would only embolden such behaviors. But James likely felt obligated to defend Kevin, given that he had personally headhunted him. I understand. I'm sorry for bringing it up, I said, ending the conversation and returning to my work. A few days later, something unexpected happened.
The CEO of Future Vision Inc., Joshua, is here. Who is in charge of him?
An employee who received the call from the receptionist told our department so. Future Vision was a client I had been handling for years, and I had scheduled a meeting with Joshua to discuss contract renewals. I'm the person in charge. I'll head to the conference room now, I said as I stood up. But Kevin immediately raised his voice and said,
John, don't go. You're no longer in charge. From today, Tony will be handling Future Vision.
What? I couldn't believe my ears. I had been responsible for this client for years and had scheduled this meeting with Joshua. Yet Kevin was reassigning the account on the spot. But Joshua is already here. We agreed to meet at 2 p.m. Kevin shot back.
Don't talk back to me. You're such an arrogant, useless employee. Typical for someone with only a high school education. Shut up and stay out of it.
Kevin then turned to Tony, a college-educated employee in the favor-seeking group, and ordered,
Tony, you're in charge of Future Vision from now on. Head to the conference room immediately and close the deal.
He is one of the employees who aligns himself with Kevin to gain his favor. Tony, surprised by the sudden directive, hesitated and said,
Me? Really? Okay, I'll do my best.
He left the room reluctantly, heading toward the conference room. Why are you suddenly reassigning this account? If you're going to make changes, there needs to be a proper handover. I argued to Kevin, and he said back,
It's your defiance and holier-than-thou attitude that irritates me. Keep pushing back, and I'll make sure you're fired.
What he's saying is ridiculously childish. A department head, someone responsible for leading their colleagues, should never say such things, I thought. But Kevin went on to say something even more absurd.
I heard all about it. You went to James to badmouth me, didn't you? Tony's the one who leaked that information. So, as a token of my gratitude, I've decided to assign him the Future Vision account. And as your penalty, I'm taking you off the account. How does that feel? If you keep going against me, you'll find yourself completely isolated in this company, sitting by the window with no work to do, until you're finally fired.
Kevin laughed as if he was thoroughly enjoying himself. He's insane. It was a mistake to make him a department head. I was certain of it. But knowing that talking to James about the reality of this situation had led to this result, I felt utterly lost. Kevin's dislike for me was now absolute, and from that point on, he systematically removed me from my responsibilities, leaving me with almost no real work. He even took to ridiculing me in a mocking tone, saying things like,
"Hey, John, go make some coffee, and if it tastes bad, do it again. Coffee and photocopying are the only things you're good for, so at least try to get those right."
Biting my lip in frustration, I had no choice but to prepare coffee for the staff.
Man, you really have it rough, huh? Getting stuck making coffee despite how long you've been here. If it were me, I'd just quit.
A younger colleague said, mocking me. And he was not the only one. There were other employees of Kevin's royal group who made fun of me along with Kevin. I realized that human society, which seems peaceful in stable times, can easily descend into chaos, with some people attacking others when the balance is disturbed. But there was one task I still had left besides making coffee and photocopying. Our company holds training sessions twice a year, bringing in external instructors to teach the employees. This tradition started long before I joined the company, and while I don't know exactly who oversees it, I had been assigned the role of communicating the training schedule to my department's employees a few years ago. Since the sessions are held department by department, I needed to coordinate the best dates for our team and report them to upper management. To do this, I sent out a survey in our department's shared chat, asking employees to submit their preferred dates by the end of the month. Looks like the deadline's approaching. Returning to my desk, I opened my computer to check the responses. This year, everyone chose the same date. Usually, preferences were all over the place, requiring me to go around and adjust schedules individually, a time-consuming process. But this time, it seemed like a stroke of luck, and I felt grateful for the rare coincidence. I promptly informed upper management of the finalized date and shared the information in the department's group chat. Since some people inevitably missed messages, I also announced the date during the morning meeting and put up posters to ensure no one would overlook it. This responsibility had originally been handled by our previous department head, Robert, but it had become my job over time. When I informed Kevin about the training and my role as the schedule coordinator, he showed no signs of disapproval.
So this kind of training happens every year? Sounds fine to me. You're in charge of coordinating the schedule, so take care of it,
he said with rare approval. With everything in place, I prepared for the training day as usual, confident in my work.
Hey, John, who's the instructor for this training session?
A few days before the training, Kevin asked me this question. I shared the information I'd received from upper management. His name is Michael Ashton. He's an expert in the IT industry in his late 50s. Kevin's expression darkened, and he muttered,
As expert? I'm an expert in the IT industry too.
Unsure how to respond, I said. Well, I've heard he's somewhat of a celebrity in the field. I shared additional information I'd received.
Is that so?
Kevin said dismissively, ending the conversation. Finally, the day of the training arrived. Because our office conference room lacked the necessary equipment, the training was held in a rented conference room equipped with high-quality audiovisual systems. Since the session started relatively early in the morning, everyone was instructed to go directly to the training venue from home and return to the office afterward. I arrived at the training venue early and waited for the other employees to arrive, This is strange. Even though I had informed everyone that the session started at 9:30, not a single person had shown up by 9:25. The instructor, Michael, had arrived 30 minutes early and was preparing the materials and videos for the session. Could it really happen that no one shows up 5 minutes before the start? While it was possible for someone to cut it close, for the entire department to do so seemed far too coincidental. Still, I waited, hoping against hope, until 9:30. The clock struck 9:31. The start time had passed.
That's strange. Could it be that everyone got the date and time wrong?
Michael, the instructor, said to me with a worried expression. I double-checked to ensure I had communicated the correct date and time multiple times, but I started to panic, wondering if I had somehow made a mistake. However, the shared chat confirmed that I had relayed the correct information, and several employees had even replied with understood. It would be one thing if 1 or 2 people got the date wrong, but for everyone to make the same mistake was highly unlikely. I'm terribly sorry. I apologized to Michael. Just then, my phone started ringing. I quickly glanced at the screen and saw that it was Kevin calling. I turned to Michael and said, "Excuse me, it seems to be a call from Kevin," and then answered the phone. "Kevin, this is John. Where are you right now?" I asked him urgently, and Kevin responded,
Where else would I be? I'm at the office, of course.
Hearing this, I panicked even more and said, "Today is the training day. The instructor has been waiting. Can you come right away? And none of the other employees have shown up either." Kevin laughed loudly and replied,
Why would I go? And the others? They won't show up either, no matter how long you wait. Why don't you just enjoy the training all by yourself?
I couldn't understand what was going on and replied, "What do you mean? I'm certain I told everyone the correct date and time. You can check the chat messages to see for yourself." Kevin then said,
Yeah, I know. But don't worry, I'll report to upper management that it was your failure to communicate. I'm really looking forward to seeing you get chewed out for this.
Anger welled up inside me, and I retorted, "Why would you do something like this? I'm used to you harassing me because you don't like me, but this time, it's causing trouble for Michael, our instructor. It's not fair to him." Kevin responded,
Michael? Why would anyone care about some old guy no one knows? A lecture from the CEO would still be better than this nonsense. Though honestly, our CEO's talks are pretty dull too. Either way, it's all pointless. Instead of wasting time on some lame training, you should be at the office doing real work.
I was stunned. Kevin, who always acted submissive around executives, was now belittling even the CEO in this way. Kevin continued,
I told everyone in our department not to attend the training. Since no one was going to show up anyway, I at least made sure everyone submitted the same preferred date to make the scheduling process easier. You should thank me for my kindness.
Kevin's laughter was like that of a cartoon villain from a children's show, loud and exaggerated. I felt a deep sense of disappointment, not just anger, about having crossed paths with such a ridiculous boss. "James, why on earth did you head on someone like him?" I thought to myself. At that moment, Michael, who had been standing nearby with a concerned expression, spoke up.
I see. So that's what's been going on.
Surprised, I instinctively said, "What?" It quickly dawned on me that Kevin's loud voice and Michael's proximity had allowed him to overhear our entire conversation. "I'm sorry, Michael. I never expected things to turn out like this. This is also my oversight. I deeply apologize." When I apologized, Michael replied,
No, you don't need to apologize. None of this is your fault.
He continued,
You've been through a lot, haven't you? I'll handle this situation myself. Don't worry about today. I'll be in touch later.
He then packed up the projector and materials he had prepared and left. As I walked back from the rental conference room to my company, my mind was flooded with thoughts. Michael had said he would handle the matter. Could that mean I might face a demotion, a pay cut, or even the worst-case scenario, being fired? On the other hand, Michael had overheard Kevin's words. Would Kevin be held accountable? But as an external instructor, Michael might only report that his time was wasted due to our company's mistakes, which could still result in me being blamed. With these thoughts swirling in my mind, I arrived at the office. Entering the building, I felt a heavy weight as I headed toward the third floor, where my department was located. To delay my arrival, I told myself, it's for exercise, and opted to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Still feeling dejected, I entered my department's office. What greeted me was an unexpected scene. Standing there was our CEO, Lauren Carter, arms crossed and glaring angrily at Kevin. In front of her, Kevin stood with his shoulders slumped, looking utterly defeated.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it.
Kevin was unusually meek as he apologized.
Sorry isn't going to cut it. James brought you here, claiming you were a talented hire, but I was foolish to believe him. Giving someone as utterly incompetent as you a managerial position and paying you a salary. What a waste.
Lauren raised her voice in frustration before letting out a deep sigh. The other employees could only stand by nervously, watching the scene unfold. Soon after, Lauren noticed me standing nearby and turned her attention toward me.
John, you've been through a lot, haven't you? I'm so sorry for all the trouble you've had to endure.
Lauren offered words of sympathy. I could only respond, yes, still struggling to grasp the situation.
My husband was beyond angry. He was dumbfounded. He told me he's encountered many professionals in his long career, but rarely anyone this abysmal. He couldn't help but laugh bitterly.
Lauren said this as if to herself. Husband. I was still completely lost.
Oh, I didn't explain properly, did I? The instructor you met earlier, Michael, is my husband. Before I founded this company, he ran several businesses, and he helped me tremendously when I was starting out. That's why I asked him to lead this training to share his knowledge and experience with our employees. Oh, and his full name is Michael Ashton, but in the industry, he's known as Mark Brown. He uses a different name when writing.
Lauren explained. Wait, was that Mark Brown? I've read his books. He's published so many bestsellers. I exclaimed, overwhelmed with excitement.
I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. Michael and I kept our surnames, so there was no way you could have known. But you see, he overheard your conversation with Kevin at the training venue and told me everything. I'm truly glad I found out. If I hadn't, this dangerous employee named Kevin would have been left unchecked, causing even bigger problems. Michael told me Kevin said on the phone, the CEO's talks are pointless. Not only did he insult Michael, but he also had the audacity to badmouth me. How could you badmouth the CEO like that? You're so two-faced, Kevin. I can't trust you at all. You're fired effective immediately.
With those words, Lauren decisively terminated Kevin's employment. Kevin slumped in defeat, but then, seemingly out of spite, he turned to me and suddenly started shouting.
This is all your fault, John. You set me up, didn't you? I'll never forgive you.
At that moment, a figure appeared at the doorway.
The one who won't forgive you is me. I won't forgive you, Kevin.
It was James, who spoke with a stern tone.
James? What did you just say?
Kevin stammered, and James responded.
I'll say it as many times as necessary. I won't forgive you, Kevin. I trusted you enough to bring you in as a manager, and this is how you repay me. Betrayal like this is unacceptable. As atonement for the trouble you've caused the employees, I intend to resign as well.
Then James turned to me and said,
John, I owe you the deepest apology. I believe I caused you the most trouble. When you came to me before to report Kevin's behavior, I dismissed you without addressing the issue. That was my mistake. As a leader, my duty should have been to investigate the claims you brought to me. I failed as a manager.
James apologized to me. James, please, don't apologize. I replied, having no intention of blaming him. Seeing this exchange, Lauren said,
James, we'll discuss your position later. I understand Kevin was deceitful and ingratiating toward his superiors, so I don't blame you entirely for not seeing through him. However, your response to John's report wasn't adequate, so I'll have to issue a formal reprimand. That said, resigning is unnecessary.
Thank you, Laura. I truly appreciate your understanding, and I'm very sorry.
James lowered his head, his voice subdued.
All right, everyone, let's get back to work. Kevin will be handling his resignation paperwork, so James, please oversee that. Oh, and one more thing. The training we missed today will be rescheduled, so make sure you all attend. John, I'll leave the arrangements to you again. Thanks.
Lauren gave her instructions energetically and left the room. Kevin, his shoulders slumped, was led to another room by James. That was the last time I ever saw him. About 3 months later, time had moved on. The rescheduled training was held successfully, with no absentees, and everyone found it highly beneficial. My hard work was acknowledged by the CEO, and I received a pay raise. Lauren even told me directly that she hoped I would take on the role of department manager in the near future. The employees who had previously aligned themselves with Kevin to gain his favor now acted deferential and respectful toward me. However, I had no intention of favoring anyone who tried to curry favor with me. While it saddened me that some colleagues had developed such attitudes, I was determined to follow in Robert's footsteps and evaluate everyone's work fairly. I believed that by fostering fairness, the workplace atmosphere would improve as a whole. I wasn't sure how much I could change on my own, but I was determined to try. James chose not to resign and remained a reliable executive who consistently showed care for us employees. I hope to work alongside him to create an excellent workplace environment. By the way, I heard through the grapevine that Kevin returned to his family's home in the countryside. Apparently, he's working as a regular employee there, or so they say. He's still young, so I hope he turns over a new leaf and does his best. One day, James called me into his office.
John, do you have a moment?
When I arrived, he shared some unexpected news.
Thanks to a recommendation from Joshua, the president of Future Vision, we might land a contract with an even bigger client. The company is Topsite Inc., and Joshua specifically requested that you handle the account. Can I count on you?
Really? I'm honored. Thank you so much. Future Vision was the client I'd been abruptly removed from under Kevin's orders, but Joshua still remembered me. According to James, Joshua told him I was far more reliable than my replacement and praised my competence.
I'm considering giving the Future Vision account back to you, but since you're set to become a manager, I might need to let Tony learn and grow more in that role.
No, I'm still learning myself. How about I accompany Tony to the next meeting with Joshua to support him?
That's a great idea. Thanks, John.
I reflected deeply and thought. When you work hard and stay sincere, there are always people who notice and appreciate it. In the workplace, there will always be challenges and difficult people, but I resolved to remain steadfast and genuine in my actions. I knew that eventually, that effort would come back to benefit me. With that thought, I looked at the business card for Topsite Inc., picked up the phone, and dialed the number. Hello, I'm John from Retechnology. I was referred by the CEO of Future Vision, Joshua, and am calling to speak with your president, Mr. Mark Smith. Is he available? I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation for the new opportunities that lay ahead.